Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special interview with my man, Devan. I don't want to give it all away, though. I'll have you introduce yourself, bro.
I'm Devan, class 27, Raytown High School, Raytown South High School, nickel slash linebacker. So,
Sir. Yes, sir, bro. Yeah, man. Talk to me a little bit about how things were going before we started working together, like how your athleticism was, and a little bit of the attention you were getting from some college coaches.
the biggest thing for me was, them obviously, hitting at my speed. I worked my ass off, I'd say, but the big issue wasn't really translating to the field. It was like getting results, that I wanted to. You know, it'd be one on ones. I'd be getting beat on shit that like I shouldn't, be getting beat. I'd wouldn't be able to make the play because I wasn't there fast enough. Wasn't able to make other plays that were necessarily like it'd not be my guy, but I'd still be there, to try to make the play. And I wasn't able to.
Got you, man. Got you, man. Okay. Well, talk to me a little bit about like what you were trying before we started working together.
So was mainly doing hill work. So I start with ground stuff. So mainly like falling starts. Wasn't really doing the flies as much. Was just moving around the sled
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to what's the word, like superset it with like no sled runs. So just
I got
stuff
you.
that didn't work in the long term.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now we're saying it now that we're on the other side of it and doing some things that have been working well. But for you, talk to me a little bit about what stood out from your perspective about like my Instagram that made you interested in this entire thing.
I saw that he had a pretty underdog story about how he came from Wisconsin to going to IMG and how his situation necessarily when it came to recruiting, by the end of it, didn't go according to plan. And so, how he had to, walk on, and beat out guys who, are getting all these hyped up, who, are on there on scholarship. And
Yeah.
it's like, I really, resonated with that. I really, like an underdog story. So,
Yeah. No doubt, my man. I appreciate you. Been grinding with it. But talk to me a little bit about were there any specific doubts you had coming into working with me?
um, really, like, I've done online coaching before, they wouldn't, we wouldn't have, constant communication. I didn't know if they really, cared outside of, them just taking my money and just being like, oh, just do this, not really, working on, what I'm doing wrong, my form, not really, going over, things that you could improve in a sense, you know, being there for you as people, not just as a coach,
Hmm,
being an outlet, you know.
gotcha. Gotcha. Well, what made you just jump in anyway and say yes, even though you didn't have some great experiences in the past?
You know, no, nothing comes from like just 100%. I mean, there's not, I see all these other, packages and stuff, but it's like, you know, they're all like they come off as like bigger company. So, I didn't really assume, they'd care, that much if someone didn't have a great experience versus like everyone else, they had.
Mhm.
And so going with a single man, you know, it's just starting out there. I would, I would assume, they really care, about what they put out there and the results you're going to get from it, and they want you to succeed.
100%, Devin. I like it, bro. Have you felt like that that more one-on-one aspect and that caring through what we've done so far?
Yep, I remember, I'd be out of the field at 10, getting in my work. Sometimes I'd schedule my calls for later times, like 8, and just him seeing me grind, for real. It'd be dark, nobody else on the field with me, so
Yes, sir, man. Proud of you for that. Some dog work that you did those late nights, man.
yeah.
When we came in to this entire thing, what did you feel like you needed to work on like the most right away?
My speed, my mainly my running form. I always got told I kind of ran funny, so you know, getting that situated out.
Sir, of course, bro. Then what were some of like the day one, maybe or week one things we implemented that felt like it helped you out the most, or even any things that maybe like didn't work out so great?
The new workout plan. I've never. It was very hard at the start. Making it to a transition. Like I was like, damn. So I was like, the workouts like really had me like just like stand there for a second. I really realized, what I wasn't implementing in my workout routine that I could have, implemented, weight room wise. As far as like the speed aspect wise, I didn't. I always thought you had to be gassed and tired, to really, feel like you worked. But as over time, as I felt myself getting faster, I'm like, that's not how every workout should be feel. You shouldn't be all hunched over and just out of breath.
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. Then, like, have you seen a change in the way you've like felt as a player?
Oh, as a player,
Yeah,
because of the speed, or just because of
yeah, like what we've done together so far in terms of your speed, your strength as well.
100%. I'm a hawk down. I'd say now, like I'm able to, if the play doesn't go right on the other side of the field, they got me playing nickel, so I'm down, getting blocked by a lineman. I can get out of it fast and hawk down the running back. Who's about to score. A lot. It's like consistent.
Yes,
I feel like I actually have control of the situation. And I can also help my teammates on the other side of the field.
yes, sir, bro. Absolutely love to see. I know we're already into the football season for you've been crushing it so far with what you've got going on for camp here.
Yeah.
Talk to people about like just what you'd say the results are like right now. I know we crushed some big numbers when we tested way back.
Feels so much faster. I feel like I can keep up with guys. Who we played a top 5 4A school that almost went to state, and I went out there and I showed them I deserve to be on the field,
Yes,
and
sir.
then, I can compete with them. They might be a lot bigger than me, but I'm coming here to play. So as far as getting workouts in with guys who are in college, my friends, I've been able to compete a lot better than I did initially, like 6 months ago. So
Yeah,
um,
I like it. Yeah, and we crushed over like half a second off of your 40, dude. That was absolutely massive. Super hyped with that one, bro. And we haven't even tested it a little bit, so it's probably even more at this point, bro. I love it. I love it. What were like some of the beliefs you had about online training before we got started with this? I know you mentioned you were working with some guys before this.
they didn't care. It was just a big. I feel like they cared to put information out, but they didn't care to really like coach you.
Mm.
Right? It was more just do this, not really active coaching. Not really a way to like reach out and get in contact with them.
Yeah, I got you, man. Then how do you feel like this has been different?
I get to actually talk to the person, who's offering the service, the coaching. So
Yeah, 100%, bro. Really big here on those relationships, unlike, say, bigger companies, things like that.
yeah.
They want to make sure everyone is feeling heard and seen. Like, would never want you to feel that way with what you've had to go through in the past, bro. Did you have any other like beliefs about like the online training itself before we started?
Like what would you it just like I said, like just kind of soulless, like
Hmm.
not like one of them I couldn't even talk. I didn't even know how to talk to the dude. It would just be, download this fitness app, sign up for my course, and do what I'm giving you. So
Gotcha, bro. Gotcha. On to better now, of course. Then what type of player, person, or recruit do you feel like this would be the right fit for?
you know, honestly, anyone in high school, but if you want to really take your game to the next level, you're a up and coming class of 2030, or you be even in middle school, I mean this shit's real, it worked and it worked on me, and anyone out there should do this. Even if you're in college, man, you can always get faster when it comes to football. So
Of course, bro. I like it. I like
yeah.
it a lot. then what type of person or recruit do you feel like this maybe wouldn't be the right fit for?
Someone who's not, you're not showing up, you're not giving your 100%. If you don't love, working out and, doing like doing everything, off the field, then I feel like this wouldn't, benefit you. You really have to love it. If you want to, be with all these other people, like all these other individuals, like they love doing it. They love working out, you should enjoy the process. It shouldn't be a hassle for you to, go to the field and get and work for an hour. Like that shouldn't feel like a burden to you, you know.
Sure, bro. Well said, Devin. Well said. I like it. Then, if there was someone listening who was on the fence about working with me, what would you want to say to them?
This is more than just Jacob. This is a whole community. We all talk. So it's a whole like, you can even say family. It's a big community of people. Trying to build up each other. To be the best. So
I
I'll
like
bring it at it.
I like it, man. Gotta let them know we got a whole group of fellas here chasing the same thing, man. Playing that college ball.
Yeah.
Sure. Is there anything else you want to leave the viewers with here today, Devin?
No, just second locker room. Like you said, second locker room.
Yeah, man. I like it. I like it. Now I know AI is all over the place now. What's your Instagram handle? Where can they find you at?
I mean, Devan Miehe. Wait, me?
Yeah, you. Yeah.
Devan Miehe. DevanMiehe.
Yes, sir, bro. Real person, not just some AI dude out here. Well, I appreciate you, Devin. I appreciate you doing this interview, hopping on with me and sharing some of your thoughts, bro.
Yeah.